Well, congratulations. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 books.
6 books, yeah.
And this beautiful thing is the final book of the series.
I know.
Is it bittersweet as you kind of approach the end of the physical book world of Land of Stories?
It's very bittersweet, and in fact, when I finished the last book, I kind of went through a little bit of a postpartum depression. I was like, kind of like when when your kid goes away to college, you're like, what do I do with myself now?
Well, there is plenty to be done.
There's a lot that's going to be done, yes.
Because these books are now going to hit screens everywhere,
yes,
which is great. You know, it's a trend that we've been seeing, whether it's Harry Potter or Lemony Snicket's, and now your baby, your project is also going to be going in that direction.
I know. I can't wait. I can't wait to, and I'm going to be writing and directing it, so I cannot wait to bring these. Thank you. I can't wait to bring these characters to life. Not
to mention that there's a Canadian on board, Sean Levy.
There is a Canadian, yeah.
Which we love.
Yes, of course. I'm sure there'll be several Canadians more where that came from.
Now, I know this is just the beginning, but have you started thinking about the casting process at all?
Oh, of course, of course. Yeah, I'm a little hesitant to bring it up because you never want to say someone's name publicly and then have to go to someone else. Because then they know that, they weren't your first pick.
I know.
I've been there.
We don't want any drama. Is there a role that you would love to play?
Not really, because I feel like it'd be so self-indulgent for me to write the series, then adapt the screenplay, and then direct, and then star in it. So I'm happily just going to stay behind the cameras.
I think you're definitely wearing enough hats as it is.
A lot of hats, right.
Okay,
right.
So let's talk about this book.
Yeah,
so for people who need to be a little bit caught up, where does book 5 end up, and where does this one pick up?
So, well, the series is about a pair of twins, Alex and Connor, and throughout the books, they travel into the worlds of fairy tales and have adventures. They have adventures in worlds of classic literature, and the 5th book ends with them having adventures in their own creative writing. And at the very, very end of book 5, Alex goes missing. And so book 6 is all about Connor trying to find her and figure out where she went.
Dun, dun, dun,
dun, dun,
dun.
And yeah, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Now, this started off as a 2-book deal.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now 6 books in.
6.
Did you kind of always know that you were going to have 6 books in you?
Well, absolutely not. No, because originally I just had the first book, and that's the book that I've had in my head since I was a kid, and then when the second book did well, I was like, okay, I'll do some more, and I thought, okay, I'll do 4 books, and that's it. I'll do 4 books. And then at the end of writing the 3rd one, I was like, oh, I don't want this to end yet, and so I literally actually. The plots of book 4, 5, and 6 were all supposed to be just one book, but I stretched it out. I'm so glad I did because there's so much story to tell.
Oh, well, it seems like with this many characters, this many worlds, there's so many directions that you can go in.
Yeah, endless, yeah.
Now, you mentioned that the very first book you kind of had in your head since you were a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So did you always want to be a writer?
I think so. I think before I even realized what writing actually was, I just had a really overactive imagination as a kid, and I would, I'd daydream about places that I want to go and people that I'd want to meet, and I think that's where it all started.
Because J.K. Rowling, she said that she kind of saw the entire story of Harry Potter and Hogwarts on a train ride.
Yeah.
Like, did you have a moment like that when you were a kid and you were like, this is the story, I can see it all?
I think so. I think I think I did kind of have that lightning moment. I was very young when it happened, and I think it was just like, oh, that's a great storyline for my action figures, and then it just stuck, and I became obsessed with it.
And now it's a real book.
Now it's
and
a real
people
thing.
are reading it everywhere.
I know, in 20 languages, and it's crazy.
Which is fantastic. There's so many stories and so many directions you could have gone. Where do you hope that kids kind of read this and take this as far as their imaginations go, that they take away from this?
Well, I just hope it inspires kids to write. I think writing it's so forced upon kids these days that they don't really quite find the enjoyment and the therapeutic qualities of it. So like the 5th book I'm very, very proud of because it's it's about a kid who writes his own stories and therefore creates his own path. And so I really hope if they pick up anything, I hope it's that lesson.
And why did you decide to go in the fantasy fiction route? Because I think initially you were approached to write a memoir, is that right?
I was, yeah, and I was 19 at the time, and I thought, maybe not.
You're like, I'm only 19,
I was like,
everybody.
oh, yeah, the last thing I want to be is one of those kids who's like, oh, this is what I've learned, and I can't even drink yet. So I asked if I could do a children's series instead.
And were they okay with it? They were like, oh.
Everyone had their doubts. I guess it's kind of a common thing for celebrities to do is, oh, I want to do a fiction something rather. So I wrote the first 100 pages of the book, and then thankfully that convinced them.
That's so great, like that you had this idea and 6 books later it's here. You know, Glee was such a big part of your life. It's been off the air for 2 years and it seems that the relationships are still intact. We actually had Leah Michelle here recently. She's promoting her new book, her new show, excuse me, The Mayor. What kind of impact did that show have on your life and does it still have?
You know, it's crazy. I feel like Glee was, it was my film school. It was my, I didn't go to college because I was plucked out of high school to start Glee, and so I just soaked up everything I possibly could. I learned how to load a camera. I learned how to sew from the costumers. I also learned that, you know, if you smell funky, you know, on your clothes, just spray it with some vodka and that'll get rid of the. Oh yeah, it's a little secret. I learned so many things. So I think that's really what prepared me the most for going into the meetings and convincing studios to let me take on my book series myself and adapt it to a film.
And you've taken some time off of acting to focus on your writing, and now you're going to be sitting in the director's chair, sitting in the writer's chair. Yeah. What are the odds we're going to get to see you in front of camera again? Possibly Indigo?
I think so. I mean, yeah, I don't really have anything. Do I have anything planned right now? I have a TV show that might happen, but I mean, I love it. I love acting too, so I don't think I'll ever quit it, but I think I'm just focusing on other things right now in this moment.
What makes you the most excited about in this moment?
The Land Stories movie. It's really like a drug every time I think about it, because it just, I mean, and hopefully I'm going to be able to really bring those images that I had as a kid to life, and I'm just so excited to do that. I feel like the luckiest person in the world.
The Land of Stories. There's many books. Is it going to be one movie? Multiple movies?
I think it's too early to say. I think we're going to take it one book at a time, and I think the first film is going to be based on the wishing spell, the first book, and then so on and so forth. But I mean, I don't want to get too greedy yet. I want to put the cart in front of the horse. But I mean, I do have a lot of spin-off books, so those could be turned into shows, and so we'll see. Hopefully people respond to it.
You are just a vat of stories, it seems.
Yeah, I thought you said fat, and I got really.
No,
I was like,
my gosh, I would never.
It's like, wow, that took a turn.
If I ever say that, I always mean PHAT, but I would never in a million years call you fat.
Thank you. No, I'll take that.
You are just an endless vat.
Endless vat.
Of stories.
Thank you.
You know, you've accomplished so much. When you look back at your career, and you still have such a long career ahead of you, what's the thing you're most proud of?
I think in the early years of Glee, I was kind of unexpectedly put into a really big role model position, and I'm very proud at how I handled it. I think I handled it very well. I didn't always do and say the right thing, but looking back, I think of all the kind of the responsibility that was put on my shoulders, and I'm very proud of myself for handling it the way that I did. That's one, I think, and I think the other is when kids come up to me and they talk to me about my characters in my book series, and they talk about them as if they're real people. I think nothing's better than that.
Well, growing up, I loved reading, and I remember I was a big Harry Potter fan and a big Narnia fan, and I would finish the books, and I would be so
devastated.
Sad. I would be so sad because these characters, they became my friends. So the fact that you've had that connection with kids in many languages around the world is so powerful, Chris.
Yeah, it's great. It's the best feeling in the world.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And if I had little ones at home, I'd be reading them. But since I'm a grown-up woman, I'm going to read them tonight.
Oh, well, go have a glass of wine and just dive in.
Right, Land of Stories for everybody.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're lovely.